Good morning. Another update in regards to Smugger. First thing I want to point out is things are happening really fast, yet it might feel like they're happening very slow. I believe it was just 9 days ago we started trimming our schedules. I believe our shelter-in-place order is maybe 7 or 8 days old now, but on the other hand, it might feel like it's been years since we undertook this. And I also know that information changes come in a frantic pace. We on the leadership side of things are working as hard as we can to keep up with differing inputs, daily changing criteria. And I know that on the front, for those of us who are actually seeing patients, it must be incredibly difficult to stay up with all the changes that we are putting out on a daily basis. I also want to recognize that there's really tremendous anxiety, I know, in our communities, in our families, and indeed among us. And much of that has to do with uncertainty that surrounds the situation we find ourselves in. So today I wanted to briefly talk to you about the financial insecurities that you might be feeling in regards to your employment here with Smugger. First of all, the situation we find ourselves in now is different from the fires. With the fires, Sutter Health had fire insurance. And so pretty quickly after the disaster struck, we were able to work out an agreement with them that they would keep us whole. And what that did is it allowed all of us to not worry about the uncertainty of finances, and we all pitched in and did whatever we needed to do to serve our community. This situation is different. There is no insurance for a pandemic, and on the surface, you might expect that Sutter Health could just pass us money for the work we're doing, but the state of California has stark laws, so it makes that a little more difficult to do. What I can tell you is that yesterday or today you should have received an entirely normal full paycheck, and likewise on April 10 you will receive another entirely full and normal paycheck. But we all recognize that, like our community, we are not immune to the repercussions of this viral crisis. So going forward, our compensation committee and our board are both working very hard on a plan. I myself represent Smugger. I meet with the presidents of the other 3 medical groups in the Bay Area on a very frequent basis, and we also meet with Liz Velardo, who's president of the foundation. And we are working very hard trying to come up with a creative plan that will mitigate the lull in production that we're all experiencing. So what are we doing? As a group, we're cutting any discretionary expenses. You might have noticed that we're cutting committees, we're cutting back on meetings. And we're also trying to create as many opportunities as we can for us to increase our production. I think all of you at this point are able to do telephone visits with our patients, and we're doing our best to try to roll out video visits with our patients. As you can imagine, trying to roll out video visits which require new hardware, new software, and the training of 5,000 physicians in the course of several weeks is a very large task, and we're feeling some of the lumps and bumps of that, but we have every intention of getting it out to everybody as soon as we can. What can you do? As I mentioned before, I think you can work on any effort to try to increase production in serving your patients in the mechanisms I just outlined. I think if necessary on an individual basis, if you feel a need, you do have the ability to cut back on your 401k contribution, because that can be as much as $2,000 a month for some individuals. If you want to do that, it's quite simple. You can pull out your open enrollment information from last fall. You can go to newportgroup.com, or at the very least, you can reach out to Lindsay Evans, who is the group's HR contact. Last thing we're going to ask you to do is, probably starting in the next 24 hours, we're going to ask you to start completing timesheets. The timesheets will be for all of our production providers, detailing where are you working, and are you working from home, are you working in a clinic, and then splitting out, are you working on in-basket work, or are you actually doing billable patient encounters? We're doing this for 2 reasons. One is to just hold each and every one of us accountable to our peers that we're working, we're not on vacation. But secondly is there's a theoretical aspect of this, is that it's potential down the road that we may be able to make this reimbursable from the foundation, so we're trying to track that data now. Things are changing fast. You know that, I know that. We're fully aware that you need more information. We try to give you information as quickly as you can, and we're working hard to solve all these dilemmas that come up. I always want to remind myself and you to continue to do just what's right for the patient, and we'll get through this stronger than ever. So hang in there. Thanks.